Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today on International Women's Day. I think we've got a bit of feedback there, so just sort those out. Just a couple of bits of housekeeping, first of all. Please keep your cameras and your microphones off unless you're speaking, just to assist with the connection and the audio for everybody who's listening. We are recording the event, so just be aware of that. And I will now get started. So we're absolutely delighted to be hosting this meeting today. I've just come out of another event for girls in cyber, which has gone absolutely brilliantly. And it's been amazing to see the interaction from lots of girls thinking about getting into cybersecurity. So that's been amazing. We do have a full agenda today, so I'm just going to share my screen and I will show you what we've got planned for today's event. Just here we go. So the agenda is as follows. You can see that on the screen. We're really pleased to be welcoming guests from across the globe, really. We've got people from UAE, Austria, France, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and a special guest from Bahrain, Kingdom of Bahrain as well. So thank you very much for joining us. I thought it would be useful just to give you a brief overview of what Women in Cyber is all about. We're part of a big cluster of organisations based in Wales, which taps into 4 different communities. We've got business, government, academia and defence. And I think that really highlights the strength of the ecosystem here in Wales, is that we have so many different people talking to each other. And that means that, you know, if people come to me for a certain question about something and I can't answer it, I probably can get in touch fairly easily with somebody who can. And that means, you know, it's a great place to do business. It's a great place to build a career. And, you know, we're very proud of that here in Wales. We have a number of different clusters in the area, and some specifically targeted at different activities. So we have a Capture the Flag, we have a data privacy cluster, and of course the Women in Cyber cluster as well. So the purpose of Women in Cyber Wales, which I set up in 2018, is really to provide networking and support for women who are thinking of working in the industry or who are already working in the industry. We meet approximately once every other month, and when we've been meeting online, we've been able to bring in people from all over the world, as we have done today, which is fantastic. We tend to have speakers because that's what women seem to want to hear from the most, about other people, about their journeys into the industry and about their interesting roles and the things that they've got involved with. I'm also a Cyber First ambassador for the National Cybersecurity Centre, and part of that role includes linking industry with education to ensure that when we're training people, we're teaching them the things that industry needs when they come out the other end of their education. So that's all the information I want to share with you at the moment. And I'm going to now hand over to my counterpart, if you will, in Scotland, Ciara Mitchell, who runs Women in Cyber Scotland. And she's just going to tell you a little bit about what she gets up to in Scotland. Thanks, Ciara.
Yeah, thanks, Claire, and thank you for having me here today. It's great to do some more work together on women in cyber. So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes just to talk to you about my role and how I help the community in Scotland. Very like what Claire's covered, we've got a cyber cluster in Scotland, and my role as cluster manager is to work with the cyber community so that we can grow that sector, cybersecurity sector in Scotland. So we network, we collaborate, we partner, and we promote what we do to really start to get to let people know what we're doing in Scotland. So we just ran Cyber Scotland Week 2 weeks ago, which was a week-long event where we had 140 events across the week. So, you know, we run a number of events across the year where we really try and promote what we're doing in Scotland. Within that, we have a Women in Cyber Scotland group, and we run events every 2 or 3 months. So we've done a number of events with Women in Cyber Wales, which is great. Although I can't take any credit for today, I'm literally turning up to say a few words and then enjoy it. This has been all Women in Cyber Wales today, certainly. So it's been great that they've run this event and the event earlier. We're running in the Women in Cyber Scotland's running about a year to 18 months now, so we're still growing. So it's been great to learn from Women in Cyber Wales to see really what works well and what kind of events to run. So we're looking forward to working further with Women in Cyber Wales as the year goes on. Thank you, Claire.
Thanks, Ciara. That's brilliant. Okay, so without further ado, I'll hand you over to our next speaker. It's Julie Spargo, who is Head of Cyber Resilience at Welsh Government, and Julie's going to just talk us a little bit through the cyber resilience with Welsh Government.
Thank you, Claire, and thank you for inviting me to this event, and hello to everyone. If I can just introduce myself, as Claire said, I'm Julie Spargo, and I'm Head of Cyber Resilience within the Welsh Government. I do have a few slides for you, which I know one of Claire's colleagues is going to share on screen. I've got some bandwidth problems here, I'm afraid. We're all still working from home. We're still in lockdown, so obviously things are a little difficult for us in that respect. If I can just say, my role is all about policy and strategy in terms of cyber resilience. It's not a technical role. And that's something I always want to try and promote with girls and with women, to say there are other jobs in cybersecurity and cyber resilience which perhaps sit slightly outside the technical field, so perhaps to consider those in a wider perspective too. And as Claire mentioned, we've got a very strong cyber ecosystem right across Wales anyway. Just to be clear, cybersecurity is not a devolved matter for us here in Wales in terms of government responsibility. Cybersecurity is the responsibility of the UK Cabinet Office, but cyber resilience touches on everyone and everything for us here in Wales, and that's our responsibility. We do work very closely with the UK Cabinet Office and with the National Cyber Security Centre, which has already been mentioned, which is part of GCHQ. If we could move on to the next slide, please. I've just identified a few sort of chains of command we have in terms of building our cyber resilient Wales and all the different sectors that Claire has already mentioned. We have such good relationships with them all. And the things that we try to do with these sectors is the awareness, planning, knowledge, and improving and adapting in terms of our cyber resilience. And that is on my next slide, which perhaps we can turn to next. And then I will move on just to give you a few examples of how we do that. We have within Welsh Government so many different areas. I always think the word cyber doesn't really mean anything on its own, that you need to have a qualifying word. It's a bit of a sort of bête noire for me, I think. Do you mean cyber skills or cyber education, cyber in the economy, for instance? So to that effect, we have an internal programme board in the Welsh Government, a cyber programme board. And that draws together all the senior people who have an interest in that wider cyber agenda that I've just mentioned. And it's a really good vehicle for us to draw all those ideas together, all the policy and strategy together across Wales. Thank you. If you could pop on to the next slide, that would be great. We've also got an external advisory board, which Claire sits on, and that really is the external people with all the cyber expertise right across Wales. And that's been a very successful board in us trying to look at where we need to go in terms of some policy. For us in Wales too, we're a bilingual nation, Welsh and English, and it's very important for us that our stakeholders in Wales have access to cybersecurity and cyber resilience in both languages. And we do fund a particular organisation called Get Safe Online, amongst others, who make some of their products available through the medium of Welsh. We work very closely with policing in Wales. especially the regional cybercrime units. They also make a lot of their products available in Welsh, which we distribute with them, and also with the NCSE. If we can move on to the next slide, please. One of the key things we've been trying to do, largely across the public sector of the last year or so, is to encourage them to develop cyber incident response plans. So what do they actually do if they actually suffer a cyber attack? To have those plans in place so that they are then ready and prepared. We have a very good group in Wales with a strange name of WARP. It actually means Warning, Advice and Reporting Point. It's a membership group which consists of all the public sector in Wales. So that would be things like fire and rescue, the health service, ambulance, the local authorities, a wide range of the public sector where they all get together. And that's a good group for us to work with in terms of cyber resilience. And we actually channel a lot of information to them, and we've done a lot of project work with them to enhance the cyber resilience across the public sector in Wales. We've done annual stock take reports, for instance, and we've done lots of cyber exercising, so actual exercises for people to get involved with. We've had to do them obviously online over the last year because of the COVID pandemic, but I'm pleased to say we were one of the first in the UK to actually do this. And in December of last year and January of this year, we ran some very successful cyber resilience exercises. We gave them the wonderful Welsh name of Draig Goch, that means red dragon, and they were very well attended and well received. And we do have some really good outcomes from those exercising and are taking forward other pieces of work across Wales. If we could move on to the next slide, please. Thank you very much. We work very closely, a lot with the public sector, local authorities, fire and rescue, and we've made funding available for them as well to enhance their cybersecurity skills. So from a professional point of view, they've actually got some accreditation that they can take forward. Sorry, I think there's something in the background. Claire actually mentioned Cyber First, and we initially worked with the NCSE to the National Cybersecurity Centre to enhance the take-up, especially for girls, by a girls' competition, which was held here in Wales last year, the final, to make sure that there's a better take-up with girls across the piece with these cyber qualifications as well, and looking forward to a career in cyber. So a lot of work still to do, I think, particularly on the skills front and the education front. But my colleagues in digital education in Welsh Government are really working hard on that to enhance the take-up. It's a very busy area of work. I'm sure you all know the word cyber hardly existed 10 years ago, and where you think where we've come in a relatively short space of time. One of the key things we work on, and it's my final point really, is on cyber incident management. And we work very closely with the NCSE and with policing on that in the event of any cyber attack that does or should affect Wales or perhaps the UK in the wider sense. And that is also a big part of the work that I do. And I have a very small team of people who work very hard on that too. So I think that's come to an end without taking up too much of your time. Always happy to take some questions, possibly at the end of the session, and thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Julie. That's brilliant. Thank you to have that overview. Just wanted to mention to everybody that if you have questions for any of our speakers, please put them in the chat. There will be an opportunity to present those to our speakers towards the end of the session. But we won't do them as we go through, just for time purposes. Okay, so moving on to our next speaker, we're delighted to welcome Ms. Zahida Azhar, who's from Ferrani Taylor Solicitors, and she's going to talk to us about why women need a career in cybersecurity.
So hi there, good afternoon and good evening to everyone. My name is Zaida Azar and I'm the Officer Manager of Ferrani Taylor Solicitors. I'm very privileged to be invited as a guest speaker to join everyone for Girls in Cyber International Women's Day, special edition organised by Cyber Wales UK. My topic today is to talk about why younger girls need a career in cybersecurity. On the International Women's Day, as a woman, I am thrilled that such initiatives are becoming more popular, as they are incredibly welcoming, thoughtful and encouraging for all women, especially the younger generation. Girls in cybersecurity are very important to promote and increase women participation in the field of cybersecurity, to build a strong, dependable and increasing network of passionate female cybersecurity professionals globally, to encourage more female leadership in the sector, supporting women in cybersecurity that aspire to start a career in cybersecurity, educating and mentoring women who are interested in the field on the wonderful opportunities that exist in cybersecurity, empowering women in cybersecurity, expand their knowledge and skills, creating a balance of men and women role models for cybersecurity professionals, connecting women in this field in the region, thus building a healthy and cyber resilient community, ensuring women have a safe and supportive environment to call on for support they may require throughout their career in cybersecurity. Cyber doesn't have to be geeky, doesn't have to be boring, and it doesn't have to be male. As the field of cybersecurity expands, we will need the range of skills and perspectives that women can bring. There are many ways you can start a career in cybersecurity, depending on your age and experience. The good news is the industry has an appetite for diversity, particularly when it comes to women. Governments and forward-thinking businesses all over the world are beginning to implement initiatives. They're also recognizing the importance of computer science and cybersecurity and encouraging younger professionals taking cybersecurity as their career. Cybersecurity is an exciting career with so many specialities for you to choose from. It has a unique culture, friendly community, and is never boring. Today, our education background, age, gender won't restrict us with the traditional career opportunities only. If we like fast-paced, flexible, and we are curious by nature, we want to contribute to an important cause, whilst earning a high salary within a short frame, it could be the career for younger girls in cyber. So I'll end there, very short speech, and I thank you all for your time, and especially the organizer of the Girls in Cyber International Wales Women's Day, Miss, is it Claire Johnson? Wishing you all a happy International Women's Day.
Thank you so much. That's great. I love some of the comments you made there about, it doesn't have to be geeky. I think that's right. There's a bit of a misconception sometimes that, it's so technical, and I think that's completely wrong, because there are so many different opportunities available in cybersecurity. So thank you for sharing that with us. We'll move now on to our next speaker, who is Bridget Lampel. She's from SLC iCable in Austria. Bridget.
Hello everybody, my name is Bridget Lampel and I am the Managing Director of SLC iCable, our headquarters based in Austria. We are a premium partner of Magenta, formerly known as T-Mobile, a telecommunication network provider for Austria, and we are responsible for the service and infrastructure development and expansions for telecommunications. I'm very grateful for Cyber Wales to invite us on this very special day that is International Women's Day. COVID has proven that telecommunications keep the world connected. And when we talk about telecommunication, we can't ignore the fact of cybersecurity. Our economies and entire business infrastructures are built on modern telecoms. From email and messaging to phone calls and video calls, we rely on them every second of every day. In fact, telecoms have become such an intrinsic part of our lives that we take their constancy for granted, like water or food. fundamental and readily available. In recent years, cyber attacks on telecoms companies have grown in frequency and sophistication. We must have higher standards of cybersecurity across the entire telecommunications sector. A vital element of cybersecurity is having the right technology in place. Cybercrime in telecom sector is both complex and multifarious. Therefore, fighting it requires an equally complex line of defense. For telecommunications companies to effectively resist cybercrime, they need to increase recognition and awareness, educate their employees, and invest in adequate technology solutions. But the first step has to be investing in the right people. Fundamental to the success of all the above is having the right people on board. Cybersecurity isn't just a case of paying for some tech and then stepping away. Just as cybercrime evolves and grows in sophistications, so too should your cybersecurity measures. I know I have other speakers and panelists on this platform, hence I will keep my speech short this time and enjoy listening to the rest of the session. Once again, I'm privileged to be here, appreciate of this opportunity, and good to see that women are really leading in all the industries. Thank you for everything.
Many thanks, Bridget. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there about some of the complex challenges that exist in telecoms, and I think that's absolutely right. That there are complex challenges in all industries, but you don't realise just how much you use technology until something goes wrong with it, and then suddenly you realise that actually it permeates every aspect of your life. So thank you very much for sharing that with us, and I'm sure we'll have some questions for you in the panel shortly. So our next speaker is Miss Afra Al Mansouri, who is from Dubai Police.
Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon and good evening everyone. My name is Afra Al Mansouri. I'm currently working with Dubai Police as the Deputy Chairman of the Scientist Council, in addition to digital forensic experts within the General Directorate of Forensic Science and Criminology in Dubai Police. I'm a graduate of University College Dublin in Ireland, as I had my master's degree in forensic computing and cybercrime investigation, in addition to my bachelor degree in computer science. I'm also pursuing my higher education as PhD in computer science at the British University in Dubai. I'm thankful for the Girls in the Cyber International Women's Day to organize such event and invite me for it. This marvelous event is educating the young generation, which all of us is responsible for. Today, I shall be speaking about the digital forensic science in Dubai as the premium leader in the region. Our aim is to become the most trusted in the field of digital forensic for clients, partners, professionals globally. We strive to make Dubai the safest and most secure city through providing initiatives that is including smart services, global institutional excellence, and professional development in alignment with modern technology utilized in an environment that promotes initiative and creativity, aiming for community happiness. Our ultimate mission is to provide unparalleled customer happiness and quality service to everyone all the time, and help the professionals in getting the best knowledge in this field. Digital forensic science sits at the heart of delivering justice in the 21st century, spanning the entire criminal justice system, from a crime scene to a courtroom. It shapes policies, offers a range of capabilities that enable us to counter new and emerging threats, and is central to achieving our shared outcomes around reducing crimes and increasing public safety. To date, however, we haven't been quick enough to coordinate enough in making the use of potential that digital forensics offer to find a way to take advantage of the huge advances in mobile, cloud, artificial intelligence, sensor and analytics that are commonplace in most every other walk of life. While crime and criminals have become ever more digitally sophisticated, our response at every level of law enforcement have been slow, fractured, and piecemeal. To create a justice system that truly meets the need of the public in the digital age while also meeting demands for greater efficiency, we must think differently about our approach to every element of digital, and especially the digital forensics. If we are to deliver against our ultimate priorities to protect children, women, and families from horrifying exploitation, to break the scourge of county lines, to disrupt terrorism and reduce serious violence, and to do so in a way that is proportionate and ethical, we need a coherent, cohesive, and collective response to the use of digital forensics. With the above mentioned, we propose a global and national whole system approach to build sustainable, future-proof digital forensic science service to deliver the capabilities that needs where is the needed the most. Digital forensic science capability must help policing to outstrip and deal with the criminal threats where they come from, keeping pace with rapid technological advances and denying criminals the chance to exploit them. We all must have a collaborative approach to establish a globally networked service cutting across all the themes, which provides a comprehensive response to the issues and challenges we identified at the most. I leave you here with my speech, and I'm privileged to contribute with my experience and knowledge in this common platform that is incredible. Thank you for listening to me and joining us today, and good evening. Stay safe and stay connected.
Thank you, Afra. That was really interesting. I always think of Dubai as being a very technologically advanced society, but I wonder if that sort of throws up some challenges that perhaps we haven't faced in other areas quite so much yet because of the collaboration and the integration of technology there. So it's really interesting to hear your views. Thank you. Our next speaker is Eleanor Nantas, who is from Panelists in France. Eleanor.
Yes, hello everyone. So my name is Eleanor, and I would like to tell you two main things. I would like to tell you a bit about how I arrived in the cyber universe, and second, the most important lessons I've learned in the sector. So you mentioned earlier, like a couple of our colleagues earlier mentioned, that cyber doesn't have to be geeky, and you have other backgrounds and other positions that you can have that are not technical. I think I'm a living proof of that because I'm a former concert pianist. I never studied engineering. I studied international relations and defense policy. And I was after my pianist career, I wanted to reach the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I received an offer from an industrial group like this big palace group. Like, what is that? And after exploring the possibilities, I said, okay, let's do that. And I started in Central Asia. I was in charge of business development for defense contracts, military contracts. Then I moved to the Near East. I worked in Israel, and this is where the same group, still Thales, and this is where I actually got exposed to cybersecurity, technologies, solutions, attacks, what it means, and how much impact it can have on our life as communities, as a world society. And then I received an offer from the cyber department of Thales to join them and be in charge of the cybersecurity offer for operational technologies. So in in a nutshell, that means I was offered to set up a portfolio of services and solutions with a technical counterpart, the very geeky guy you can imagine in the movies, and then deliver the growth strategy globally. And I said, well, that's a huge challenge. And nothing but my experience, professionally speaking, got me ready to get that challenge, to meet the challenge. And I still said, yes, okay, let's do it. And so I joined the cybersecurity department. And I was based, I'm based between London and Paris. It's I basically need to work with a team from North America, Europe, Dubai, Hong Kong to cybersecure industrial control systems. And I work in very various industry with very various customers, from fast-moving consumer goods. So make sure that your favorite ice cream recipe is safely made in a factory, and make sure you can buy that ice cream wherever you are in the world. There will be no discontinuity in the production. The next day, I'm talking with a company that is in the health sector. How do you cyber secure the production of the COVID-19 vaccines? This is very like right now, and we have these discussions with our customers. The next day, I'm working with Audi or Jaguar Land Rover. And how do you cyber secure the smart cars? No matter the background you have from an educational perspective, if you are disciplined, curious, and most importantly, you have what I call a connected intelligence, like you can connect bits and pieces and see the global picture, you can have a very successful career in cybersecurity. And that would be really my main message. You can have a background in art, study governmental relations or crisis management for governments, and after a few years, you can lead the definition of an offer in cybersecurity for the next big sector of cyber, which is operational technologies. It's a sector that is super immature, and we need to join up forces with our customers to make it safer. And this is a sort of sector, sort of technologies, operational one, industrial control system, where the geeky cyber people, well, no matter how geeky you are, you will not fully understand it. You need to work with the person who is operating the systems every day, the person that is going in the factory in the morning and needs to produce that petrochemical product or need to produce that type of energy, may it be oil and gas or nuclear. You need to talk their language. And here, even the technical teams need that support and that leadership over understanding the wider context. And you don't have an education that is getting ready for that. It's part of you. And I think women, I don't want to go in cliche, but I think naturally speaking, we intend to see the wider picture, connect the elements of an environment and an ecosystem. It's like almost, I don't know, it's like supernatural. And I think this is exactly what makes us very valuable for the domain. So that would be really my message. Go ambitious, go allow yourself to be fast. We can go fast. We can grow a career fast in the cyber industry, and don't limit yourself because you are not able to talk Python, for instance. There's plenty of other things we need to do in cybersecurity, and we need to get more, I think, more united as women in the domain to conquer the domain altogether. So thank you very much, Claire, for this sort of event that you're organizing. I think it helps us also realize we are not alone. We are not alone. We have a lot of women in the sector, in the industry. And even if you walk in the room, 30 people, 2 women, that should change. And that is already improving today. So thank you very much for like enabling us to connect with each other and feel really part of a team that goes beyond the name of your organization, that goes beyond the type of skills you like to practice. So thank you, Claire, for that.
Thanks, Eleanor. You talked about how you can't expect to know everything, and I think that's one of the key messages I would also say. There's a temptation as women working in this industry to think that we have to be perfectly brilliant at everything, and the reality is that nobody could be brilliant at everything in cybersecurity because it is such a huge field. So, you know, never feel concerned about asking for support and asking for help from other people, because we all need it from time to time. So that was really interesting. Thank you for that. Our next speaker, and then we will move on to a panel. So if you can start thinking of some questions to ask our panelists, that would be brilliant. Our next speaker is Marwa Al-Mansouri. She works for the Economic Collaboration Committee in Abu Dhabi in the UAE. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Hello, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here celebrating with you all on a momentous day to discuss the importance of cybersecurity and its role in creating a sustainable future for our youth. So, as Claire said, my name is Marwa Al-Mansouri, and I am the co-founder of the United Women Network under the Abraham Accords and a board member of the Economic Collaboration Committee in Abu Dhabi and the Israeli UAE Chamber of Commerce. It's always a pleasure to be around many leaders like yourselves on the subjects what concerns women in cyber. I'm equally proud to see the passion of cyber whales and dedication to spread around cyber awareness in the region, which of course is very important to all the public and private sectors, including micro, small, medium-sized enterprises, and even individuals. So I want to pay a tribute, first of all, to cyber whales, the Welsh government, and the United Kingdom of their optimistic vision to establish a dedicated cybersecurity cluster for the region. I also would like to highlight the importance on the partnership to promote cybersecurity awareness, culture, and best practices within the private sector. Women have been pioneers in security and technology, and we want to see this reflected in the cybersecurity sector too. We all have to basically be part of it, making the world the safest place to live and to work online. Employees are vital in helping to keep the organization network safe and need to be aware how to protect themselves at the end of the day. So once people are more cyber literate as a whole, we hope to see this having a positive impact on the diversity of people that are interested to work in the sector. So with just the press of a button, you can access personal life and take full control over it. And therefore, collectively, we need strong collaborative among the private and the public sector. Much of the above that's mentioned already has taken place, but we need to emphasize to more collective and continuous efforts to be cyber immune altogether. We are delighted to see so many young people interested in finding out more about cybersecurity. So now the significant rise in female applications is especially pleasing and something we want to see scaling to the future. It has never been more important to increase, to diversify the cybersecurity workforce, and we are committed in creating a stable infrastructure for the next generation of skilled experts in addressing the gender imbalance and maximizing, which is really important, which is knowledge transfer. I'm really grateful that the UAE is playing a key role and are pioneers in the region. We have to constantly work with things, and we have to communicate both the pros and the cons at the same time, and basically all the time, so that we commit to our determination to move forward, and we strengthen the capacity to fight back. Women must continue to be the center of the messaging, the prevention, the creativity, and the leadership into the technology sector. We are grateful for our partners, including Cyber Wales, to promote young women in the technology sector, working to build women's cyber well-being. And of course, we are also thankful for the dedication and support the team that has put this and made this happen. We hope we can rely and call upon them and always to be the forefront and to carry the message of spreading the good work. cyber awareness is important, and the amount of way we can talk about it, it can go till, you know, years and years. So I wish you all the best of luck, and I recommend maintaining strong ties with the UAE and the region to find more ways of cooperation, best practices, and diverse solutions. So I thank you all again for your time, and I wish you all to have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marwa. That was really interesting to listen to. You know, you talked about knowledge transfer, similar to what we've already been hearing about, that importance of sharing experiences and providing that supportive network for each other. Just before we move on, I wanted to actually share an additional slide with you that I think is useful, just to sort of put some context. So I'm just going to try and pull that one up. You know, sometimes people say to me, surely it's about getting the best person for the job, and whether that's male or female, it doesn't matter. And I would agree with that. But I think because there's such an imbalance at the moment, that's the area that we need to address. It's all very well, you know, to say that women are welcome, but if nobody's talking in the language that women understand, then that makes it very difficult for us to feel included. So the slide that I've just put up on screen now sort of shows you what that diversity gap actually is. In, I think it was 2019, ISC Squared did some research, and from that they were able to conclude that there would be a global shortage of IT security skills of over 4 million. That's 4 million roles that would be unfilled without taking action. And in the UK, late last year, some work was done which showed that 48% of businesses identified that they have a basic cybersecurity skills gap. Now, if you then add to that the fact that women make up between 12 and 25% of the workforce in cybersecurity, and it depends on which report you read, then it's clear that if we can tap into that talent, we can start to fill that gap, and we can start to make things better. There's a really nice quote that I like from Nicola Hudson from the NCSC, which says that having diversity reduces groupthink behaviours. And I think that really sort of says a lot about how much diversity brings to a team. And I put a little quote in there from KPMG also, which sort of talks about the benefits it can bring to an organisation: increased creativity, increased innovation, greater employee satisfaction, stronger talent retention, the list goes on. So lots of reasons to make sure you have diverse teams. And just before we move on to the panel, I've just asked my colleague Holly Lidbury, who works in the National Digital Exploitation Centre, to just give us an overview of the event that she was involved in today. It was such a vibrant event that I felt it was worth adding just a couple of minutes from Holly to talk about what happened there.
Thanks, Claire. Yeah, it's been great to hear from everyone today, because, you know, obviously gender diversity within cybersecurity is such an issue that's important to people. You know, it's close to our hearts, especially, you know, in the women in cyber cluster. And I truly believe that the work to increase diversity within the sector begins at a very young age. And it's interesting hearing what Claire just said then, you know, that, you know, you always want the best candidate for the job, but how do we know that they're the best candidates for the job if 50% of potential candidates aren't even applying in the first place? And, you know, we did a bit of a poll at the start of the event today to ask the girls who are attending their experience of kind of being girls with interest in STEM and cybersecurity. And what was really interesting was that when they were asked, you know, are they put off cyber and STEM subjects because it's perceived to be sort of a boys thing, the overwhelming answer is no now. You know, and when they were asked if parents, guardians, teachers were supportive of them going into these areas, these STEM subjects, the answer was yes. So clearly now it's not that women don't believe that these spaces are open to them. We know that they are open to us. What was interesting then is that when we asked them you know, have they ever or are they uncertain about entering the cybersecurity industry or STEM industries because of their other interests and talents in more sort of humanities, creative or linguistics areas? The answer was overwhelmingly yes. So it's starting to become clear that it's not that they don't feel welcome in those spaces, but they can't reconcile the idea of cybersecurity and STEM with the other things that they're passionate about. And hearing from all these women today, it's clear that that shouldn't be the case, because there are so many ways that you can reconcile, you know, your interests, your passions, from things outside of STEM with those cybersecurity subjects. I mean, Eleanor, for example, you know, it was really great to hear from you to have come from a musical background and have that international relations experience, but then use that knowledge and skill set to apply to the cybersecurity world. It just goes to show how much women have to add to these areas if we only embrace the feminine aspects to technology, and if we can incorporate that and sort of push it further. And I think that was what was really successful about this event today. And, you know, to anyone who's working with younger girls or trying to encourage girls into the industry, I would encourage you to be open and honest about that, and to reinforce that, you know, you don't have to be, going back to what Claire said, and, you know, the nerdy side of cyber is not all about being completely technical, but it's about seeing what your talents, the things that you embrace as kind of feminine, can actually do to expand and to improve that kind of STEM and cyber field. And that, I think, was what was really successful today, is that those girls saw women in the industry who have those experiences and can talk about that. And again, you know, drawing a similarity from what we're doing here, it was the ability to network with other females with similar interests too. You know, knowing that there are other women out there who are having those same experiences is really kind of empowering, and to give them a platform where they could start to connect as young girls with similar interests was really great. So yeah, that's about it from me, Claire.
Thanks, Holly. That's great. Really good to hear about that event today. Thank you. Okay, so we will move on to our panel now. We have a couple of additional guests joining us, which is brilliant. So I will just ask them if they are happy to say hello and introduce themselves, as you hadn't heard from them already. So firstly, we have Ms. Nde Touré from Gambia Cybersecurity Alliance. Nde, are you there?
Hello.
Hello, would you like to introduce yourself? Okay, we're getting a little bit of feedback from Nde there, so we'll come back to her in a moment. I'm also really delighted to say that we have Aisha Rayad Al-Zayani, who is the acting director of acting director at the Information and Technology Directorate at the General Secretariat of the Supreme Council, excuse me, for Women in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Aisha, would you like to say hello to everybody?
Yes, hi everyone. Nice to meet you, everyone, and thank you very much to invite me to this event. I have a good information, mashallah, and good experience from several places. And also, if you can give me a few seconds, I will introduce myself. I'm Aisha Zayani as Supreme Council for Women. Actually, I'm currently just established in our organization new department for cybersecurity, and we are focusing in enhancing this area, and we are trying even to encourage the women, especially the students and young women, to be in this field. And also there is a group in Bahrain called Cyber Security Women in Bahrain. They have a lot of activities that is also related to security. And that's it. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, that's great. I mean, what's standing out to me is there's so much amazing stuff going on, and it's, you know, it's just so important that we all make sure we're connecting with each other and taking advantage of those opportunities. So we will move on to the panel. I'll ask all the panelists who are happy to speak to put their cameras on so we can see your faces. That'd be nice. And then I've got a few questions that I would like to ask, and then I'll turn to the questions that are popping up in the chat as well. So firstly, my first question is directed to Marwa Al-Mansouri. And I wanted to ask, what do you think is the importance of having a diverse cybersecurity workforce?
So basically, I think because of the new market, and you know, and especially if I highlighted in my current talk that knowledge transfer is important. So when people come along, and especially with international diversity in each corporate, private, or governmental sector, so it creates a sensitive type of diversification. So we need to basically add on to the cybersecurity strategy, and it should be implemented in different ways in different generations. So, and why am I focusing on this? It's because every year there's something different. As you know, let's say iPhone, you know, now it's been every 2 years they have a new iPhone coming out, but now every 6 months a new iPhone coming out. So let's do that structure and imagine it in a structural phase of cybersecurity.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, lots of sort of different elements there that tap into it, aren't there? That if you haven't got that diversity of thought, you kind of maybe miss out on some of the things that are important.
Exactly, and you should keep an open mind. You know, right, cybersecurity is a closed box. However, you cannot access that box unless you have an open mind. So you're most welcome.
So my next question is for Ende. Can you tell us about some of the challenges that you think women face, in particular in the IT security industry?
Hi everyone, I'm Deture. I'm the Data Privacy Officer of the Gambia Cybersecurity Alliance, and then it's my pleasure being with all of you here. I'm very happy seeing a lot of women on this room here, which like shows like it's a good sign that many women are actually having the courage now to take up this cyber, let's say, IT careers. Coming back to the questions, some of the challenges that women are facing in tech industry, there are a lot of challenges that women are facing, but I will just mention few. One of the challenges that women are facing in tech industry is due to gender perceptions. In certain organizations, women are not given enough privilege to showcase their creativity and talent. So which is like giving them a lot of challenges. I can actually testify to that. Like you'll be working in a particular industry, and but some women feel so proud, like women to tell them what to do. So at the end of the day, you come up with your amazing ideas, but then they will not implement it at that spot because it is from a lady or a woman. So unless you see them implementing the same like strategy that you came with. And also the other point is when it comes to job recruitments, women are facing a lot of challenges, are finding it very hard when it comes to job recruitments. And for example, if a woman and a man apply for a particular job, let's say a system administrator, and most of the time, chances are given to the men because they feel like a woman cannot, they have that perception that a woman cannot control a whole organization network infrastructure. So which is so unfair. And I think we need to keep track. Like I'm very happy that women in cyber will came up with this kind of platform to encourage other women out there into cybersecurity or any other workforce, which is very important. We need to keep bringing these topics to light, create a conversation around them, and hopefully this will force the companies to create or build that diverse, inclusive culture and diverse workplace for women as well. And besides, technology is all about advancement and innovations, and we need new voices on the table to actually reach out to the larger market. And according to a statistic, only 8% of women are saying they are not facing any challenges in tech industry, which I'm very happy for them actually. But I hope someday 100% of women will stand up and respond and say, okay, we're not facing any more challenges in tech industry and we are giving as much opportunity as men. I hope we will see that soon. And some companies will be like, where will I have a lot of women in my company instead of men? So I will be like, okay, I think having that as according to the researchers, companies with inclusive culture and diversity see more innovations, and then they can even exit to their financial targets, so which is very important. And I hope someday we'll have a lot of women leaders in tech industry that will inspire other women to take up this industry. And I think some women also is lack of confidence. They feel like this is a male dominated industry and it is not their field. They should take up another field instead of IT field. So for my advice to them, let them come in with their fearless hearts, and then it's all about educate yourself in the field that you are in and fight for, let's say, whatever position you are looking for, and fulfill your duties, the jobs that you are given to you, fulfill everything, and then show men that this is not their field. This is a field that is open to anybody who wants to come into the picture. So yeah, I'll just stop here because of the time frame. Thank you.
Thank you. That's really interesting. And you talked about jobs and confidence, and I was just mentioned something the other day about last year somebody sent me a job advert from a recruitment agency and asked me to circulate it, and it was just this sort of huge list of skills and certifications and requirements requiring somebody to be on call sort of 24/7, to be an expert in reverse engineering, malware analysis, communications, cyber hygiene. It was just an unreasonable list. And I went back to the recruitment agency and said, you won't get anybody apply for this, and you certainly won't get a woman apply for it, because women are realists and they'll know that job is not possible. And he came back and he said, yeah, well, it's a wish list. So my comment to him was, well, if it's a wish list, then say it's a wish list. Don't say it's essential criteria. Because it will put people off from applying. So I'd be interested to know if they found anybody for that job, because I can't believe that there's anybody exists that had all those skills. Thank you for that. My next question is for Eleanor, and just a reminder, please do put your questions in the chat if you have any. What do you think? I loved, by the way, that you said that you were previously a concert pianist. Amazing. That's a great thing to say. I have a music degree, so I feel an affinity with you. But what do you think women from non-technical backgrounds bring to the cybersecurity sector?
So I think the greatest asset for women who are not from a technical background is that we know what we ignore. And that is a huge strength. And we are ready to, not be in the ego battle. We are here to achieve something and put our name on the achievement, say, together we did that. And for me, that's the most natural thing for someone who is not a specialist in a particular domain. Being a generalist is also very demanding. And having that, I mentioned, connective mind, for me, it's really mirroring the technology. Connectivity is what we want. We want it at every single moment. We want it at home. We want it outside. We walk in the street, on the public transport, in my car, on the plane. On the plane, we want Wi-Fi. And I think that the industry should now demand that the people people in the organization have the same level of expectation for their own way of thinking. Connectivity, think about something different. Feed your imagination with everything you have seen until you get into the office and use that. And another thing, to echo a bit what Marwa told us earlier about the roles of cyber in economical relations, and I would say even diplomacy to a certain extent, that cybersecurity is about integration. You can talk about the products, etc. At the end of the day, you need to integrate products together. Most importantly, you need to integrate these products into a specific environment, right? And again, you can't achieve that if you are alone. You need to widen your vision. You need to collaborate. The big fat Thales, that is a 20 billion company, every year, that we bought Gemalto for 4.5 billion. We need the small startup. We need that small startup because it's a niche technology. We're super good at doing it. We're not going to reinvent it. So we need to work with that small startup. And I work with Unilever, large team that is managing 500 factories. They do need our core team of cybersecurity experts to help them cybersecure the safety and the continuity of their operations. And I think women has a particular talent in achieving results and being achievement driven and not ego fighting, And so I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, thank you. I totally agree. It's that connectivity and being able to see the bigger picture and so on is absolutely critical. Okay, I have a question for Julie. I was springing it on her, but just wondered, Julie, what your view is in terms of the differences between, or if there are any differences between cybersecurity in the public sector and cybersecurity in business and the private sector. Are there different challenges, do you think?
I think there are. I think there is one big challenge, is getting everyone to recognise that they really need to take account of cybersecurity, but also the ongoing cyber resilience. We forget about that. We sort of use the phrase cybersecurity, which if you're not then checking your ongoing cyber resilience, that is not helpful to any business organisation. I think certainly in Wales, the public sector have become very agile in terms of their cybersecurity and cyber resilience. And so have most businesses. I think there's always a problem where you've got small to medium-sized enterprise businesses. And we've got a lot of those in Wales. And I'm sure, many of the participants can sort of really react to that in their countries and their organisations. It's always this thought that for everybody, it will never happen to us. And if I had £1 for the time people had said that to me, once they've experienced some sort of cyber incident or cyber attack, I'd be a very rich person. And I think it's actually getting that message out there. And that's across all sectors, but particularly very small businesses, which may only have one person, a boss. They may have no other employees. They could be just as vulnerable to a cyber attack or a cyber incident where most of their work and their customer information is now held online. Could I just add something about, I'm an ex-teacher, Claire, as you know, and I've always got I tend to wear my teacher's hat still, I think, after all these years. I still think we need to get young girls, and particularly when they're young, and encourage them at a young age. And I know certainly in Wales, there have been a number of competitions, cyber girls competitions that have been run by policing, the NCSE, Claire, you've been heavily involved in them, to try and capture some interest and get them into this, to see it's not male dominated. It doesn't have to be male dominated. This is something that they've got skills to do too. And I'm a great believer in getting them at that very young age. And I think certainly people like careers advisors, whatever they're called in everyone's organisations and countries, they need to be on board to recognise that girls and women have got the right skills to do this. A bit of a hobby horse of mine, thank you.
Thanks, Julie. I mean, as you know, we've sort of tried to do quite a lot of work with young people and through the NDEC. I mean, we've run an event for Girl Guides and Brownies, where we've got them doing sort of really simple and context relevant cybersecurity activities, and seeing them enjoy those activities, I think, really helps them see that as a potential future for themselves. So I totally agree that sort of tapping into talent very early on and encouraging them to continue with that sort of line of inquiry is really valuable and will make a difference. And for me, you know, I've seen some organisations in the Gloucester area who do a lot of work with boys as well, trying to get them promoting the work that the girls are doing. So as they come through the system, they will expect to see girls working with them. And I think that, again, is also important. So we do have a few, in fact, Julie, you preempted one of my questions there. So we'll skip on and have a look at what's in the chat there. Somebody's asked, do we have any cyber active groups where we can boost up our skills? There are groups where you can do training, and there's lots of online resources. So YouTube is a fantastic resource for cybersecurity because people do a lot of walkthroughs and activities on there in terms of tools and techniques. And, you know, one of the things I always say to people is follow other people on social media, because they often provide links and networking opportunities for people working in the field. But things like Hack the Box and Try Hack Me are really good ways to develop your technical skills. I don't know if anybody else on the panel wants to add to that. Feel free to chip in and interrupt me if you want to add something. Another question is from Sakina, I think, who's disappointingly mentioned about how she was put off from pursuing cybersecurity and computing, and we do hear this story quite a lot, and it is really sad to hear, but I don't think it's uncommon. And developing skills and knowledge. So again, I would sort of say, you know, focus on those opportunities that are online. If there's a demand for it, then, you know, it's perhaps something that we can set up as part of Women in Cyber. We can have some more guest talks on the sort of more technical nature and look into doing that. And certainly through NDEC, there may be opportunities as well. Eleanor, do you do anything in France sort of relating to skills development for women?
So what I've initiated at the moment with my department, within my department, is that we have highlighted the HR function, the very high tension over cybersecurity profile in the operational technology domain. And what we are trying to join up is the fact that we are going to train engineers who are, you know, very savvy on industrial systems. We're going to teach them cyber, and we are joining up the forces with the other HR stream that is regarding promoting women in engineering and in cyber. So my plan is just to basically try to channel a bit the offers to women who are willing, who are already maybe engineers and who are willing to grow, but sometimes there is a glass ceiling, you know, you just can't go for it. And my offer to them is a big fast track. Take cybersecurity, it's a highway for your ambition, and that works pretty well. In addition to that, I'm working with my my former university, where in international relations we have more women represented. Everything that is around diplomacy and foreign policy, and I'm very regularly going to my former university and a couple of others to do sort of a evangelization. You know, tell them, you know what, you could work in a large industrial group in cybersecurity, and most of the time they're like, wait, what? And it's possible. And so I'm trying as well to attract the women from where they intend to be more represented. So I don't double up always the constraints in trying to, make my way. So I think these are the two things. Offer where women are already more represented, offer them this attractive opportunity in cyber, and where women are less represented and suffer sometimes from roadblocks, offer them that fast track in cybersecurity. And combining the two, I think, will give us a very talented pool of women.
Yeah, thanks, Eleanor. I don't know, and Dave, do you want to add anything to that in terms of sort of how you're sort of encouraging opportunities for women? I don't want to put you on the spot there. Oh, you're on mute at the moment.
Can you come again?
Yeah, just wondering if you've got any suggestions for ways to help support women to get into the industry in terms of sort of training and upskilling.
Yeah, like the Gamba Cybersecurity Alliance, we also have clusters, women in cybersecurity. So normally women that are very interested in cybersecurity are normally under that cluster. We planning to provide them with a training. Let's say ladies or women that wants to take cybersecurity as their career path, and then we help them through it by actually giving them the guide to guide them through how they can become a cybersecurity expert. Because some people, like when they heard about cybersecurity, they feel like, okay, cybersecurity, you can just wake up any day and just dive into cybersecurity. Cybersecurity, like when you talk about cybersecurity, is the last stage. Before you can be able to become a cybersecurity expert, first you must understand networking aspect of it. Let's say A+, network plus, something like that. And these people, before you can know how to protect your network infrastructure, before you can protect a network infrastructure, you must know how devices communicate. You must know how to protect this network, because one day you become, you may know a particular tool. Yes, this particular tool can do this, can do that. Or where can you effectively use this tool to make sure that it gives you the right results? So we normally give them that that advice, and then we also give them guidelines, research. They normally go to some websites where they offer like free training, like Cyber does the same thing. But when you want to go deep into it, they normally request for, let's say, a fee. So which is very good for a beginner. So there are a lot of websites, CTF, like you rightly mentioned. All those areas are where you can, before you go and hack someone's network infrastructure, by the next 5 minutes you see police in your doorstep. It's better you use CTF and do all your exploitation there. And then when you become a professional, please be a good guy. Don't be the bad guy on the internet. Make internet safe for everybody to connect without fear. Yeah, basically that's it.
Thank you, that's great. Yeah, be the good guy. That's the important thing, isn't it? Okay, we've got a question just in the chat here. Is hardware or software a barrier for entry to women in cyber and women in digital? So and asking the panel if anybody's experienced any barriers like that and how you've overcome them. Anyone brave enough? Yeah, go
okay,
on.
may I step in?
Of course.
Huh? Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Come again with your question.
So just asking whether anybody in the panel had experienced any sort of barriers to getting into cybersecurity and how you overcame them.
Yes, absolutely. I have faced a lot of difficulties before I can even get into cybersecurity, because I was someone who was just studying basic networking, like basic IT, how to navigate the computers and all that. But then I want to dive into IT, but I don't know actually which part I should take. And then I'll be asking people, I want to study cybersecurity, and I don't know how I can go about it. I will say I want to be a programmer. Anything I say, I will say I want to be that. But then luckily I was able to come across this kind-hearted person, Mr. Amadou Eba, who took me through everything and explained everything to me. And then, sorry.
I think we lost her there, but I think that was sort of highlighting the importance of having a mentor and someone to support you when you're learning, really, which I agree with. I think is really, really critical. Okay, well, I think we'll sort of start to draw to a close. I mean, I found it really fascinating, and I think it really highlights that we all have similar challenges, but that, you know, there's a lot going on and a lot we can do to support women in the industry, and to support incoming women into the industry as well, which I think, you know, is what we really want to do to try and decrease the gender diversity gap. Are there any last words that anybody would like to say before we close up? Perhaps just, yeah, go on. And Dave, would you like to start? And then I'll just do a quick round.
Yeah. What I can say to my fellow ladies out there is, if you are into the field and then you are very influential, pave way for others also to come in and help them, empower them. Some women, the only thing they need is guidance. Just guide them through the paths until they reach there. They also will be inspired to help other young ladies who also want to take this cyber security or take as their career path. So basically, yeah, it's that.
Thank you. Marwa, would you like to say some final words?
Very simple and straightforward, you know. I'll just tell you, cybersecurity, the misunderstanding of cybersecurity, everyone gets frightened hearing cybersecurity. And I think, you know, we should change the concept. Instead of being frightened, feeling cybersecurity is creating protection for your organization, whether it's private or government, and creating protection for your own people. So this type, no one can change that. It's us who can change that. It's from our generation moving on. So the main, like, stereotyping cybersecurity as a negative word, let's just take it and make it a positive. It will take time to change, but it will have a lot of impact in the future.
Yeah, thank you. They're really, really good words of wisdom there. Thank you very much. Eleanor, would you like to say some final words?
Yeah, I would like to echo what Ende and Marwa just said, and most importantly, that resonates with me a lot. Just work as one team beyond the name of your organization, beyond the educational background, beyond your nationality. Give opportunities to girls and women, ladies, and it's great to converge on an understanding. It's even better to achieve what we want, which is more than 2 women in a room with 30 guys in a tie and suit, you know. And for that, we need to offer internships. We need to recommend women when a suitable position is open, and that is communicating. We need to communicate the opportunities we see and grow a network, and then help each other, you know, support each other, because this is what everyone is doing. So let's do it for ourselves.
Thank you, Eleanor. I mean, I would just add to that as well, that I think, you know, it's really important to encourage women, but for me, it's actually about also more than encouragement. It's almost saying you must go for this job, you know, because I think we lack so much confidence sometimes, that somebody just saying you can apply for it if you want to isn't enough. You almost need to sort of say you should apply for it because you'd be perfect for this job, and to really sort of boost people's confidence in that respect. Julie, anything from you?
With everything the ladies have said, and now particularly about this positive approach to cyber security. And that's something we've certainly been trying to do over the last 2 years across Wales. And I think we're beginning to win on that front now, that it's not seen as a negative, that is very much a positive approach to taking this forward. So
thank you. I know they're not on camera, but I just wanted to give the opportunity to Aisha if she would like to comment.
Yes, I have a small comment regarding the question for the software and hardware. I just want to add more information. Cybersecurity is not only technical part. There is very important part related to the governance, policies, procedures. So ladies, when you want to join the security or cybersecurity sector, you can join only the management part. For the governance part, this is very, very important part, because how you will manage the technical part, how you will be sure that you are really securing even your tools and your technicals or softwares. So this part is very important, and I really I want to highlight for the ladies, please don't think only it is technical part, there is even management part for this area. And cybersecurity is the future job. It is now the new job, and it is the future job. This is the new innovation. It is part even for the the future, and it is very excited. It is very nice area, especially who those that they like to the computer and information systems. Is very, very nice area, and inshallah we hope the best for all, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. It's one of the most exciting industries I've ever worked in, for sure. Okay, so we just do a quick check up whether Afra would like to say anything to finish. No, Afra is not responding, so we'll assume that she has nothing further to say. And Kira in Scotland, anything you would like to add?
I just want to say a big thank you. It's been really fascinating and very inspiring. So yeah, thanks for organising, Claire, and to everyone that's been involved. It's been a wonderful event. Thank
you. Okay, well, we will draw it to a close there. Thank you, everybody, so much, particularly to our speakers for joining us today. It's really given it a great international flavour to hear from, about the challenges, but also the opportunities that you've all got in your different areas. And thank you so much also to all our attendees who've been busy chatting away over in the panel there, and for joining us. I will put some links in for the Women in Cyber Wales network just as we close. And just like to say, have a lovely rest of International Women's Day. And a pleasant evening, and I look forward to meeting up with you all again soon. Thank you very much.